Guys, this set, it's really starting to come together, actually. We've got the scrolling wall of faces from Doom, that's fun. Soundproofing foam. Silly anime VHS tapes for all you kids. But this soundproofing foam here isn't the only $30 thing I bought recently. Yesterday I picked up Spongebob Battle for Bikini Bottom HD, but I got it digitally. Fuck you, you can't see it. It's 2003, I'm probably shitting my pants, but meanwhile in a remote location, THQ is creating dozens of shitty licensed games, such as Fairly Odd Parents Breaking the Rules, Finding Nemo, another Finding Nemo game, Jimmy Neutron Jet Fusion, like 20 Spongebob games. But a rogue unit named Heavy Iron Studios decided to go against the grain and make a licensed game that's actually good. Battle for Bikini Bottom is regarded as one of the best licensed games ever, right up there with GoldenEye 64, Simpsons Hit and Run, JoJo on SNES. Battle for Bikini Bottom became a cult classic with an insanely competitive speedrun scene, and a dedicated fanbase of epic Redditor man-children never shut the fuck up about this game and convinced the marketing team at THQ Nordic to authorize a full-scale remake for this vocal minority of insane people who are obsessed with a decent early 2000s 3D platformer. I didn't play the original until 2017, but I never finished it, so I thought the HD version would be a good opportunity to do that. So I plopped down $30, downloaded it, and immediately became more depressed than I've ever been in my entire life. There's just something about this game. Something that makes me say, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, it plays fine, except for some platforming sections that are tricky as hell because the platform is a teeter-totter and will kill your upward momentum when you try to get off it. But from the second I gained control of SpongeBob, I began to ask myself the bigger questions. What's next? Where do I go from here? Do I lack an overall direction in life, and was I merely wanting to play this game to escape the reality that I don't really know what I want to do or where I want to go? I'm just sitting here in my parents' basement at 20 years old playing a kid's game. Despite being at work for 8 hours previously, Battle for Bikini Bottom just makes me feel pathetic. Like I can do more with my life and the only thing stopping me is myself. I noticed that this game really just makes me feel like an enormous piece of shit. And I know it is specifically this game because I played Resident Evil 4 last night on Wii for about 2 hours and I never once thought about getting a haircut, cleaning off my coffee table, vacuuming, getting the belt service done in my car, investing in the stock market, applying to various apartments, writing scripts, meeting new people and cultivating existing relationships, exercising, going on a walk, learning to cook, eating an apple, building a shelf, practicing guitar, practicing drums, watching more 1967 Speed Racer because that show is completely batshit and I need to see who will kill next because Speed Racer is a murderous psychopath. I don't know, the point is when I play Resident Evil 4 I just think, this is good, I like that. And when I play Rehydrated I just think, I am worthless, and I don't want to think like that. I think I know why this game made me feel so melancholy. It's kind of just the fact that I didn't have fun with it makes me feel like I'm getting old. It's the fact that 10 years ago and even 3 years ago when I played it in 2017, I had fun, but now just a few years later, I'm not. At just 20, it seems boring and repetitive and kind of stale. And that's just kind of a depressing thought, that the things I used to love, I don't anymore. And that's kind of not like a fun thing to start worrying about while you're playing a SpongeBob game. It's making me question my mortality and the fact that the person I am now is not the person I'm going to be in a few years, for better or worse. I might not have the friends that I have now in 3 years, because 3 years ago I didn't have some of the friends I have now. And it makes me wonder if the things that we bonded over and cherish are one day just gonna stop being those things. It's so weird that as soon as I booted up this game and heard the music and saw the graphics, it just kind of bummed me the hell out. But that's enough about this sad shit. Let's talk about the actual game now. From a design perspective, this game is a bizarre bastard mix of beautiful and I hate it. SpongeBob has pores, they all do. What the fuck? and his pants are weird looking and there's a lot of bloom, but I think it looks how it should. They went really faithful on this thing, but all that did was remind me that these games with constant quips, repetitive music, and simple enemies make me feel like I'm experiencing an ego death. But you know, I don't think it's a bad game. I mean, it's unpolished, but every reviewer jackass has said that already, and there's a patch coming to fix it. But I mean, it's a product of its time. It's from 2003, and it really feels like it. This really put into perspective a GameSpot review I read the other day that I initially ripped on and thought was hilarious. I still do, but I get it now. There were multiple points in the game where I climbed up to the top of a high structure and a rogue robot knocked me all the way down into the water. Ironically, none of the protagonists can swim, so I died instantly and respawned at a checkpoint. Having to start all over is truly deflating. Now look, it's not that bad. A 2 is absurd. Ride to Hell Retribution got a fucking 1. I don't know what the hell this person is even doing reviewing this game. It kind of just seems like their boss forced into place in a single 20-hour sitting, which is hilarious. I mean, I can't really talk. I didn't even get past Jellyfish Fields because I too fell off a high mountain and felt like a sack of shit. But I had the option to stop, whereas this guy didn't. Remakes and remasters aren't inherently a bad thing. They give new people a chance to play the game that may be harder to come by these days, fix issues people have with the original, and make them look prettier. All technically good things. But I still can't help but feel like they're almost always unnecessary or kind of cash grabby and market themselves on nothing but nostalgia alone. Kind of like how in Mario Odyssey there's an endless amount of references to the old NES games, and even my sock drawer can't escape Nintendo jacking themselves off for eternity over how cool the original Super Mario Bros. Was. I'd love to see remakes of the initial D arcade games, or the JoJo Heritage of the Future game, or Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, or Mega Man 2, or Castlevania 4, or Super Mario 64, or Zelda Ocarina of Time, even though Nintendo could get $1 billion today if they just released the old ROMs on Switch, but who am I to make that call? They should just remake Star Fox 64, but again, or Half-Life 2, but not a piece of shit this time, or Vice City, or do a remake of Lego Racers, or fuck it! Just remake everything! I never have to grow up and face the truth as long as all my favorite games are always being remade and re-released. Remember the Nintendo Entertainment System? I mean, almost none of the games hold up, but goddammit, they came out when I was a kid, so that makes them good. They all came out at a time in my life when I didn't know what qualified immunity was. It's not 2020, it's 1985, because I can go into a Walmart and buy a tiny little Galaga arcade machine, and it fucking sucks, but it's old, and old is good. Remember nostalgia? Remember Toys R Us? Oh, they gotta bring back Toys R Us. I mean, I never fucking shopped there, and that's probably why it went out of business, but they gotta bring it back. And while they're at it, they should bring back Pizza Hut and Crayola, even though they still exist. Bring them back anyway, because things from my childhood are the only things that are good now. Who the hell wants to plug in their PS2 and they can just buy the new version that is probably prettier or maybe it's worse? Who gives a shit? Because I don't have to plug in this fucking red, blue, and right. Who gives a shit? Buy the new version. It's HD and probably prettier, and it reminds you when you were 6 years old and you had no idea what the Panama Papers are that exposed all the ruling class were part of a worldwide trillion-dollar money laundering scheme. Or maybe you didn't know about Epstein's Black Book that exposed pretty much every celebrity and powerful person in the world being a pedophile. You didn't even know about the Clinton suicide list. None of that existed when you were playing Spongebob Battle for Bikini Bottom on the PlayStation 2, and none of it will exist if you buy the new HD version, damn it! Anyway, yeah, Spongebob is like a 7 out of 10. I'll probably keep playing it.